Okay. Let's see. Let's make sure everything's doing what it's supposed to be doing. Still figuring out Twitch. In the meantime, I'm definitely probably gonna be sounding very crazy. But yeah. Let me see if I can boot this up. Let's run this shit. And not have it play like complete ass. Okay. That's something. This is my mouse. Call it what you will. Revelation from God or a curse of the demon king. The fact remains that. Oop! You couldn't read it all. A heretic called upon an unearthly light and devastation ensued. Chaos called. I can't read fast enough. Fuck. Then, in the dark beguiles me. Truth is a mystery unraveled by the candle's flames. This is the most cryptic shit. I have such a love-hate relationship with this fucking game. This series, Shin Megami Tensei, featuring Dante of the Devil May Cry franchise. Oh man. And I have my regular recorder going at the same time, so that's just a party in itself. Oh my goodness. Never played this, decided to see if I could get it to run on my laptop. Trying some software, trying to co-stream. It's fun. Why did I wish, oh man, I wish so bad it was like DMC3 Dante, but you know, whatever. We can't all have the way we want our dreams to go the way we want them to dream. But yes, so I'm also recording a podcast while I stream, so that's gonna be fun. I don't know how people do shit like this. Just off the rip, just be talking. I'm not on my regular microphone. I'm over here using my internal shit because I'm lazy. Oh my god. Hello? I would have stopped at KFC to get a fat ball fill up. Did you want anything? No, thank you. Alright, what you up to? Playing a game. Oh, okay. I'll see you in a little bit. Right. Let's load the game once we've been playing it the whole time. So I was wrong. This shit was still streaming. That's fun. While I'm on the phone. All my shit is being weird. No, cancel that. Okay. Okay. Time to actually see if I can get into this. It like it, it started playing something completely different. Fuck! I keep hitting the wrong button to get it to go. I mean X. X is the button that I meant to hit. Damn it. Do I have a game loaded? I do not. Is there anything to configure? Nope. What is this special button? That was a bad idea. I regret this. Take me back to the menu. Oh man. So this is gonna be weird, especially doing this for a podcast. Normal or hard? Well, this is Shin Megami Tensei, so I'm going for normal, which I think is the Japanese easy. Cause no, I absolutely disagree. Um, Anyways, if you're listening to this version, the podcast version, I've been gone for 4 months because I've been focusing on post grad things and trying to get a job. Um, and then Big Rona swept through the streets, swept through the world, and has us all locked down in houses. And considering all my job prospects were at schools, they all kind of froze up because no one's supposed to interact with anybody, and I work a job that's face to face. This character definitely looks like Satan. But yeah, that's where I've been. So we've been kind of stuck in the house, barreled down, quarantine, trying to make sure we're all safe and unsick, and knowing things about me and my life, making sure that the senior citizens in my life are staying happy and healthy and away from infected people. I want you to meet the same fate. So, what have I been watching? Of course, I've been watching Tiger King, as I'm recording this on April 1st, April Fool's Day. Just skip right through Martin Luther King Day, Black History Month, blah, 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 blah. Just missed everything. Just trying to get life together. But I watched Tiger King. That's absolute insanity if you haven't seen it. Last name. I almost... I forget. I'm trying to remember the name. I always use a different name for these games. Tiger King is absolute insanity. If you're looking for a show that misspells their own name, if you're looking for a show that is just like has drugs, has tigers, has a murder mystery, like the most normal of the characters on it is a former drug kingpin. Like it's insane, but I also kind of love it. Fuck. That button doesn't do what it's supposed to do. That's fine. I'ma let it rock. And if this is streaming it, it looks absolutely yonkers. There we go. StreamX nearly deleted itself. So yeah, let's get it done. Nickname. I know what nickname I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with a different nickname. But nonetheless, Tiger King is absolute insanity. If you haven't seen it, you should absolutely see it. I don't want... I could spoil things for you of the show. But you would have to see it to believe it. It's highly entertaining. Joe Exotic is just a whirlwind tornado of a human being, and he's just an indescribable absolute mad lad. Yes, we'll write it. I've watched that. I marathoned that because I made the mistake of trying to watch that before. But he's an absolute mad lad. Carol absolutely murdered her husband. Jeff runs a cult. They all run different kinds of cults, but it's just by the end of the show, the majority of it doesn't even have that much to do with tigers, which is insane. I watched Castlevania season 3. That was quite good. I think it's the weakest of the seasons so far, just because a lot of it is kind of in static locations. Aside from I'm forgetting my boy's name, but the black Muslim demon guy. I'm forgetting his name, but that was very good. Castlevania is consistently one of the best animated shows I've seen for adult animation in recent years. Its animation is beautiful. The storyline is his name Gabriel? I can't remember. I'm gonna keep this because I can't remember who you are. You look like Lady Satan, so I'm gonna keep your name the same. But I have so many reviews to catch up on, so many shows that I've seen, so many movies I've missed out on. Yeah, Castlevania is fantastic. Interesting story that continues. I really just want to get them to Symphony of the Night because that's the game that's like the most popular. So I think that's probably where they'll end up probably capping the series because I feel like if you're gonna write so consistently for the show, you got to get to Symphony of the Night. Even I know that one. It's like going through the Final Fantasy games and not doing anything with 7. It's like, what? One of the most iconic ones in the franchise. So there's that. Goodness. I think the only drawback I would say from Castlevania Season 3 is that you can definitely tell Warren Ellis has a strong kind of anti-theistic vibe, and sometimes it just is a little too invasive into the plot. Not the plot, but like the dialogue. I'm like, all right, I get it. You hate God. I understand. I get there's so much contempt for religion. I absolutely get it. It's just sometimes it bleeds a little too much in the dialogue, but it's not that big of an issue. The writing is still very, very strong because Warren Ellis is talented. Those are the first thing to come to mind in regards to what I've been watching, and then what have I been listening to? Listening to Childish Gambino's new album. It was okay. What is my friend's name? Oh no, was his name Isaac? No, Isaac was the one in the jail. Let's see this the Issa. I'm gonna name him Issa after Issa Rae. It's a knife. Which it was okay. It was really like a trippy and experimental album. It gave me very because of the internet vibes. Issa Nita. So overall, I think it was alright. I just want to hear Childish Gambino rap again. I missed that Childish Gambino. That was the one that I grew up with his old days from like Sick Boy and Cul-de-sac. I missed that Childish Gambino. But now he's a dad, soon to be father of 3, because pulling out is just like a recommendation to him and his wife. But he seems to be doing okay. Donald Glover is such a fascinating person to follow. This I don't know why this just reminded me of another life update. I finished working on a short film that I'm acting in, so I'm a supporting lead. So that's nice. It's cool. So that wrapped just in time before all the Corona craziness happened. So that's a party. And then I listened to Joyner Lucas's new album. I quite enjoyed it. Ooh, this runs so smooth. Praise God. Oh, I'm terrified for when we start going to demons and shit. I like Joyner Lucas's new album because I've only listened to a handful of the songs, but apparently the fans knew like half the track listing was already out. So I kind of feel bad for fans because they only really get like 7 new tracks, 5 or 7 new tracks. I'm like half paying attention to the dialogue in this game while trying to talk at the same time. I don't know how people do this. It's insane. But I enjoyed it. I felt special when he wrote a song about Will Smith, but he titled it Will. So I'm like, oh, it's like me, but it's not because Will Smith is like this millionaire rock star celebrity, and I am struggling with the camera. I am playing a video game in my bed, not living in Los Angeles right now. I'm not Will Smith, but man, wouldn't that be? It'd be nice to have a lifestyle like Will Smith. But overall, I thought that one was all right. It's entertaining. It definitely has vibes and energy of ADHD only because that would probably be my one complaint is that it has no real identity of what ADHD is because it seems like it's playing with this concept of not being able to nail down like just one sound or one genre, which I think could work in theory, but a lot of people have been talking about like, well, in execution, it's kind of meh, it's kind of meh, it's kind of meh. Oh Jesus, this map is horrifying. Okay, with that said, Yo Yogi. Yeah, those are the big two that come to mind. I've been listening to like other music. I've had a couple friends put me on to like new '90s music and things like that, but nothing that's like made me go like, oh, I gotta check that out right now. I started going back to Weird Al, of all people. That's somebody I didn't expect to be listening to anytime soon, but you know, the way life in the universe is, everything is set up. I'm like, yeah, let me revisit this artist that I haven't like listened to that much in the past couple of years. I remember a alarming amount of his albums. I think verbatim remember what's it called? Trapped in the Drive-Thru. All like 11 and a half minutes of that goofy, silly little song. I have to remember a lot of it. Um, but yeah, so let me. Whew. I'm looking back at the list of like what I have to review, and good God Almighty, it's a lot. I'm gonna try to get through these as quick as possible, but like be efficient and detailed, which is difficult because I'm also like I'm trying to multitask. I'm trying to talk and play a game I've never played before. Or I started it. All at the same time. So Mandalorian finished in December. I intended to do this whole discussion about my feelings towards the God, the Star Wars franchise, because leading up to Episode 9, I marathon the other 8 movies, and I never really sat down and watched them all the way through in years, or some of them I hadn't even sat down and watched all the way through. I just knew them, just because infamy, and so. Starting with the Mandalorian. Mandalorian is a great series. Had a very solid, strong finale. I am not going through the effort of renaming this character. Gonna keep that one the name. The name. Keep that one the same. Call her Chia, like the seeds. Um, Chia. But what was I saying about the Mandalorian? Yes, I love The Mandalorian. I really quite enjoy it. It's a breath of fresh air in the Star Wars universe. And this is coming from someone who mostly watches the franchise just to see lightsaber fights. Watching that was just made me feel so nice and was a pure antithesis to my experience with Rise of Skywalker. Mandalorian is just very good. I highly recommend season 1 if you haven't seen it already. I remember I was reviewing it like episode by episode before. Um, but yeah, it was just highly entertaining television. I don't think it's gonna win any like specific awards or anything. Um, Somebody just came to the house. I don't think it's gonna win any specific awards or anything, except for maybe effects. There's like a good amount of practical effects. I think that writing was mostly pretty solid to strong. The jailbreak episode where they're in like the giant prison planet or cube or whatever it was. I really like that one just because I really like Bill Burr. So I'm excited to hear he's coming back for season 2. So that's exciting. Um, I'm only half paying attention to this dialogue on the screen. But yeah, Mandalorian's very good. As opposed to Rise of Skywalker, which was hot garbage. Dumpster fire, garbage truck juice. I was thoroughly entertained the whole time. It might be my favorite of the new trilogy, but not for anything good that it accomplished. It's a really, really bad movie. And watching the Star Wars movies in chronological orders is one of the most whiplash experiences I have ever had in my entire life. Put on the Gaia Golden Scripture of Morocco. Make sure my door's closed. But yeah, no, that was an absolute startling nightmare of an experience. And I would never wish that upon anybody I know. And I would never try to pass that on to a friend. Or, it's ghoulish and creepy how inconsistent the storytelling is, because it goes like from bad to good to great, and it peaks right at 5 and then just steadily goes down until it hits episode 9. It's fascinating. It's a rise in quality. I've never seen a series that kind of rises and falls the way it does, because it's like Phantom Menace is not nearly as bad as so many people make it out to sound. It's like, it's not great. It's nothing special, but it's a lot. It's worse than I remember in a lot of places, but it's like not as bad as 2. 2 is mostly meh. It's just like, yeah, there's lightsaber fights, but it's not an interesting film. The politics discussed in 1 through 3 did not hold me at all. Half the time I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? What are we talking about here? Why does this matter? Why do I care? Make me care. And I absolutely didn't care, because you're introducing politics with no like real background for it. You're giving me characters that I just was not that invested in, other than the charisma of their acting capabilities. I feel so bad for Hayden Christensen, just because I feel like his acting was so suppressed, and he was forced to like carry a lot of the movies. Like, he's actually solid in episode 3, I give him that, but like 2, he didn't have shit to work with. I felt so bad for the guy watching these movies. The original trilogy still holds up surprisingly pretty darn well. So I don't have a lot to say with that. It's just a very good series of movies. Like, yeah, episode 6 is the weakest, but like, well, what are you gonna do? 4 is a really strong movie that can stand by itself. 5 can actually stand by itself, but it leaves room for a sequel. It's a fantastic second movie. It's a fantastic sequel, and the franchise could have ended there. But I'm glad it got resolved. But the way it gets resolved is not optimal. And then just like doing more research into how George Lucas is as a filmmaker is just, I'm just like, more people need to stop him from doing stuff, but not as bad as they. Sorry, I'm just like, every time you hear me stop speaking, I'm probably reading something briefly, trying to get an idea of where this plot's going. Even uglier high school girl. Damn, that's rude. Yeah, just going through this franchise was raw. It was just not great. And then I went on a date to see Rise of Skywalker, which I feel bad, because like, it's like, boy, of all the movies to take someone on a date to, taking her to the new Star Wars, I'm like, oh, well, maybe it'll be good. Maybe it'll exceed my expectations. Maybe I'll have a good time. Nope, none of that shit happened. Not, like, if you haven't seen it and you want to see it, you can see it, but you won't have a great experience. There's just something that happens near the end of the film. Characters are just like, there's this whole thing about, so it's like, oh, the thing is, you're nobody. Well, you're nobody except like the chosen one. There's a scene at the end that was just, it made me audibly go boo, or I think I groaned. I was just like, ugh, really? Me and like 6 other people in the theater. It was just like, I had a good weekend while I was up there, but that was a horrible movie to see on a date, and that was just an all-around bad movie. You can tell it was Walk Back the Last Jedi, the movie, and rewatching The Last Jedi, I respect it for what it tried to do in terms of ambition, but I don't agree with how it executed what it was trying to do. The concept is more interesting than the execution, but you can tell watching those 3 movies, they just had no clear plan, and it completely wrecked them, and it made me so sad, because they have fantastic actors. Good actors, great actors, legendary actors, all across the board, but the decisions they make for it were just really bad. They were not good. This game is running, it's running back to normal, okay. But, no, it just was not working. I felt so bad for everybody involved, and the actors especially deserve way better writing than that, and Star Wars as a franchise deserved better. It made me, going through that experience after going through The Mandalorian, like I finished The Mandalorian and like marathoned the movies, and that was That was rough. It made me kind of want to tap out the franchise a little bit. Like it gave me a brief peek afterwards, and then I walked out of it. I'm like, that wasn't great. And it takes a lot for me to really sit down and be like, no, that was not a good movie. It really wasn't. So that was Mandalorian, high recommendation, absolutely. Like that. Once Disney Plus gets the Marvel shows on it, I'd say pay for it. But Rise of Skywalker, honestly, could skip those three movies in general. Like I didn't enjoy The Last Jedi as much as I did the second go around. It's not bad, but it's just tonally inconsistent. Even though I still think it has the best effects out of any Star Wars movie and the best cinematography. I still think it's a meh plot. It would almost be interesting if it did more with what it built. If it built upon more of what it had instead of trying to tear it down. Which, ooh boy. Anyways, let's talk about things related to DC Comics, which is all over the place. Um, what do we have? Wonder Woman 84, not only, I believe, got pushed because of the Rona, but it had its second trailer, I believe. Still looks cool. Looks cool. There was an alleged leak about what Cheetah's supposed to look like for it. And I hope it's all a fallacy, because I didn't. It's like, oh, it's Kristen Wiig in a cheetah jacket. And I'm like, no, don't do that. That's stupid. I don't like it. I don't like the thing that the fictional characters are doing. But I mean, the movie just looks really fun, and I'm excited to see it. I enjoyed the first Wonder Woman, and when I heard about what's going, like Gal Gadot is very slowly growing on me. I forget what I'm doing in this game. I'm half paying attention, half not. But oh, I need to find a character. Okay. But you know, I'm excited for the movie. It's a good looking, fun looking movie. She rides on lightning with her lasso. I don't care what anybody says. That's cool. That is cool. Is it? It's so goofily comic booky, and I love it. Oh man, I'm like, I didn't know Wonder Woman could do that, and she has like this golden eagle or golden glider suit, and I'm like, yes, Queen, I am here for it. Like up until Shazam, like Wonder Woman, I thought was a top tier DC movie, so they're doing their thing. Um, so yeah, it's a good trailer, and I'm excited for the movie, even though it got pushed back. So that movie may never see the light of day. It keeps getting pushed back. The universe is trying to kill it and New Mutants, and we'll get to that. The Crisis on Infinite Earth, the CW Crisis parts 1 through 3. Or we're going to just go through the whole Crisis since it's already out now, parts 1 through 5. It was good, and then it got a little weak, and then it ended okay. I think the episode 4 ending was where it ended, and episode 5 was more of an epilogue for what happened. There goes that character. So I like the build up. I like what they show of the other universes. I wish we got a little bit more screen time with some of the characters, but they had a cast of like, this is some of the end of it goes off. Like, I'm gonna spoil this because it's been out for a couple months, but like the end of it is basically Avengers Endgame all over again. Like down to everybody fighting in like a barren field, and 2-bit like Oliver Queen going up against the Anti-Monitor, like Tony Stark goes up against Thanos, and he straight up said, like, you have failed this universe. And I'm like, bro, really? You know what? I can't even be mad. I'm like, you know what? If it worked for Marvel, if it ain't broke, Arrow is, I guess, the Tony Stark equivalent for us for the DC CW shows, and he also dies, and their series ends. Rest in peace, Arrow, I suppose, until they try to get that Canary spin-off going. We'll see how that goes. John Diggle get the Green Lantern ring. Hopefully, even though that's probably not going to go anywhere. But whatever, we'll see what Guggenheim does. The Crisis was entertaining. Seeing Brandon Routh as Superman invigorated me as someone who's not a fan of Superman in a way that I didn't expect. Aside from him having some kind of crazy looking contacts, he sold it within seconds of seeing him, and that's no disrespect to Tyler Hoechlin, who does a I think he does a solid job as Superman, and we're getting that Superman and Lois show I think in the near future, and they have their two sons. But man, just I don't know the. He just did. I got mad Christopher Reeves vibes, and those are movies I'm not crazy familiar with, but I know what Christopher Reeves looks like. Like when you see Superman live action, um, you think of Christopher Reeves, and sometimes Henry Cavill, but we won't go there. But seeing him, I'm like, this legacy has an appropriate ending. It has a nice place where it's just like, you know what, this is a good place to end it. They give him closure, and you only see him for like a total of 15 minutes between all the parts. The introduction of like evil Batman, I kind of feel like was a slight waste of your Kevin Conroy. I think it was dope having him as Bruce Wayne. I just don't really particularly like the angle that they went for with that version of the character. But hey, it's based off it's loosely based off Kingdom Come. I don't know why they didn't put him and the Superman in the same universe. But it would have been cool to see that. It's kind of soft retcon of Batman with that universe. But it is what it is. CGI was nothing spectacular because it's a CW show. What do you expect? Like, what what you're gonna get when you get that CW show. But I'm going the wrong way in this game. Overall, the Crisis was entertaining. I will say, DC did pull off something that Marvel has yet to really pull off to this degree, and I have to give them major props for that. And that was having the two Flashes meet, having Grant Gustin and Ezra Miller. And I am very vocal about me not liking Ezra Miller's Flash. I really don't like that character. However, I will say that was an extremely cool moment. And that's something that even Marvel hasn't had two characters of that specificity and caliber meet. Because Flash is a Justice League member. He's kind of high caliber. And we had a movie Superman, because Superman Returns, meet a TV Superman. And then you had a movie, essentially a movie Flash meet a TV Flash. Justice League isn't a good movie, and I don't like that Flash. However, getting the suit, getting him as that character, that means a lot. They put a lot of effort into the special in little ways. In big ways, you can only work with what you got. But now, there's less Earths now. They soft rebooted their universes, which makes me very curious. Because I know they're not going to do another Crisis type event for a while. I'm running around here looking absolutely insane. But, there we go. But what they accomplished with it was just some next level shit. I gotta give them their mad props for that. That was really cool. I may not like that Flash, but I recognize a good moment when I see one. So that was dope. And I'm mad because it got spoiled to me by Grant Gustin as I was booting the episode up to watch it. So that made me a little upsetty spaghetti, but whatever. God damn, where am I going? This game has no map. No map. No more. No map. Try the roof. On to the next thing. Watchmen series wrapped. It aired and wrapped. Do not do a season 2. It's really good. I really like Watchmen. It has a interesting take on its social commentary. Nothing bad. I wasn't disappointed by it. I'm not like a diehard Dick Ratton Watchmen fan, so my complaints for it are very passive or minimal. But overall, I enjoyed it. I don't mind it ending a little, and I knew it was gonna end ambiguously, even though I haven't really followed David Lindelof's career like that. So this hospital is only 3 floors tall, and I don't know where I'm going. There we go. But okay, I don't have a damn thing to do with this. Overall, after watching the season, I think there's a lot of very effective episodes, like the one where she takes the granddad's pills and basically experiences life. I thought they were going a different direction with that. the story they tell with that character, it invokes a lot of emotional conversations that I feel like we aren't fully comfortable with having yet about black queer men, and like what that means and having that as a superhero and kind of what it ends up retconning for the Watchmen story. And but I liked, I've seen some kind of disagreements with the direction that they took with Doctor Manhattan. I thought it was fine. I thought it was, I agree with it. This just puts a very interesting end point to Watchmen, which, find where I was supposed to go. And I'm okay with that. Watchmen did not need to, it was, I was watching a review and they said, it's not a matter of if Watchmen gets adapted or gets a sequel or a spin-off or whatever. It's a matter of when. And so I at least appreciate them putting effort into this. I'm not going to act like it's the greatest thing since sliced bread, but it was something I thoroughly enjoyed and am actually willing to pick up. Like, I would highly recommend watching Watchmen if you haven't already. But it does kind of, it's a very liberal versus conservative, nuance-based show. And I think it's a lot more obvious in terms of what it's discussing than like the original Watchmen was, as kind of a critique on superheroes and society and things of that nature. But yeah, I wound up really liking Watchmen. I love Watchmen. So I'm gonna get that show at some point. I might do a Angela Ibar cosplay or something of Sister Night, make it Brother Night, Brother Darkness. Let's see. Oh God, so much DC stuff. Birds of Prey. Not nearly as bad as people made it out to be. I have my problems with it. Some of the CGI is wonky. I did a review on my actual channel at Will the Greatest. But yeah, I did a review on my actual channel about Birds of Prey, so you can go there and check that out. But it's just kind of reiterate my points. It's okay. It's fine. It's not bad. I actually really like the action. They wasted Cassandra Cain. That just for namesake, I'm like, you could have just used Stephanie Brown and kept her Asian. Wouldn't have really made a difference. She's just a MacGuffin that has to shit. That is literally the plot point. But yes, let me go back downstairs after, since I found him. Yeah, he's just a MacGuffin. She's just a MacGuffin that has to poo. This should not have been given the egregiously long title that it had, but whatever. People gonna do what they do. It didn't deserve that. I am curious to see how what her role is gonna be like in the Suicide Squad, which is supposed to be coming out, I believe, next year or 2022. Directed by James Gunn. But like, yeah, it's fine. It's harmless. It's a fun little movie. I would be interested to see a follow-up, but judging by the box office, I don't know if that's gonna happen. So yeah, we'll see how that one goes. But contrasting that, the Harley Quinn show, which is about to get into their second season, I believe, later on this month, that show is really good. Someone who is a pretty big Harley Quinn fan, oh my goodness, it gets. I'm not the biggest. I've never been a fan of like the pink and blue kind of style, but I don't mind the outfit. It's definitely based off her Palmiotti and Connor run, which is they're the ones that kind of started that shit. It's just like a little too busy color wise for me, but other than that, it's okay. But the show just gets the character, and it's like half episodic, but there is an overarching plot to it. And going into season 2, and that trailer's dropped, I'm excited. It's just a very well done adult show. It's not like Castlevania levels, but it doesn't hold back, and it has a clear understanding of its characters, and it engages them, and it does things that kind of break the comic norm, but don't break the characters. Like, when you get to the season finale, there's a bunch of stuff that happens that I don't know if has exactly happened in the comics before, especially making Harley more of a bigger anti-hero, and you kind of see where her limits are as a character, and you see her humanity come out. And I have to give, is it Kaylee Cuoco who's doing the performance, I believe, at Harley this go around? She does a pretty good job. I have to give her credit. You can kind of see there's a compare and contrast between her version and the version we got in Birds of Prey, which I'll say, Margot Robbie actually did pretty darn well as Harley this go round, a lot better than she did in Suicide Squad, which means, like, by the time we get to the next Suicide Squad, it'll be perfected. Like, it's right about there. But Kaylee's performance is great, and she adds vocal nuance to it, which means she's actually acting, which I am really grateful for. And she's not just making this be like generic Harley Quinn role. Like, no, she's putting an effort, because there are subtle nuances to her voice that come out if you know about, like, the character. So, like, the accent that everyone expects, it comes out around her family or when she's agitated. I'm like, oh shit, that's okay. Let's go, Kaylee, and let's go, voice directors. Let's go. Cult of Gaia, that's interesting. But yeah, Harley Quinn show, absolutely fantastic. I love it. I give it a glowing review. I highly recommend that. Why did I sound like a really shitty impersonation of King Shark? The way they changed the characters is definitely from a place of understanding that, but it's a great show. Is there much Marvel talk? New Mutants got pushed again. That's sad. That I just really want to see that. I actually really want to see that movie. I want to give it a chance, but the universe is like, nah, son. This movie's getting dropped on Disney Plus or Hulu or some shit like that. Like, it wasn't meant for theaters. It makes me sad because I'm like, damn, that movie looks interesting. It looks like a fun time, and I was excited to see it, but nope. Never mind that. Anything else significant happened with Marvel? Black Widow got pushed indefinitely because of Big Rona. Sis is in these streets, wrecking lives. What are you gonna do about that? That might get pushed to Disney Plus, which might fuck up its domestic gross a little bit, because that was definitely a legit big budget movie. But you can't predict a pandemic. You can predict a lot of things in your box office, but you can't predict a pandemic. And a lot of movies are going video on demand, so that might end up being what they do, which is fine. I'd shell out a couple dollars to see it. I was gonna see it in theaters anyways, but The only other significant Marvel-related thing is the new Warriors comic that's come out, and the new America Chavez book that's coming. I don't know who the team is for that one. I don't have it in front of me because I'm also streaming right now. But it's bad. It's bad and offensive on two different ways. It's offensive to the people it's trying to empower, and it's offensive to regular comic book goers who don't agree with this type of thing. So you basically were trying to appeal to a minority group and failed and pissed them off, while also pissing off comic fans, because this is the exact type of thing they were complaining about. So they tried to flip a complaint into an empowerment and failed that too. So you failed twice, which usually you would think that makes a win, but you were very wrong. Just Snowflake and Safe Space and Be Negative and what's his name, Screen Time, and what was the other chick's name? Like a Dora the Explorer, but body positive. It's just such a series of bad ideas that were just so stupid and poor. I don't like the art on it either. The character designs are just not good. They're overdone. Marvel has a thing with this in their movies too, where their characters are a little over designed. But these, just the colors don't work, the powers are dumb, and don't really make sense. Like, he was exposed to his grandpa's internet gas. I'm like, what kind of shenanigans? But that's just something that exists, because this is the world we live in. These are the things we're given. Goodness, it's the worst. Just dumb and silly and the worst. And that's all that's really going on with Marvel. I mean, they got a brief snippet of the show, so you get to see a glimpse of WandaVision and Cap. But what was it? Falcon and Winter Soldier was the name of that show. Winter Soldier and Falcon. Wings and the Leg Man. Just snippets of those. So I'm excited for those coming out later this year. Those will be interesting. But yeah, other shit. Other shit. Um, Ghostbusters Afterlife trailer, which came out sometime during my hiatus. It looks good. It looks entertaining. I trust Ivan Reitman. I've seen, I want to say like 3 of his movies, and I enjoyed all of them to varying degrees. So, like, have no real complaints there. Yeah, it looks good. It's definitely like Stranger Things, but make it Ghostbusters, which I'm down to even having Finn Wolfhard, the patron saint of the '80s. But I don't have any like major issues with it. Because it looks like it plays it safe. It's not trying to bank too hard off nostalgia. It's really leaning more into this is a different thing, so we're gonna do something different with it. And I'm running around with this ID card, so don't remind me. But yeah, it looks good. No Time to Die. I am passively familiar with James Bond. My ex is a huge James Bond fan, so I know that she's gonna see it, especially because it's the 25th Bond movie and the last Daniel Craig one. Having old girl Miss Eyebrows from Captain Marvel as 007. I'll wait to see it in person before I make a final critical judgment of it. So I'm reserving my thoughts on that. Like at first glance, I think it's a little odd of an idea, but the way I saw it explained, I'm like, don't try to don't try to appease me and my black sensibilities just because like there is a lack of diversity within Hollywood in these characters. But I hear there's a show on Netflix that kind of does black female James Bond without it being as gimmicky as this one sounds. But I'll withhold final judgment till I see the movie. It does make me want to go back and actually get through the Daniel Craig films because the only Bond film I've only sat through 2 Bond movies, and that's Quantum of Solace and what is the other one called? I can't remember. The Pierce Brosnan one with Halle Berry because it was on Sci-Fi Channel. I was watching it with my mom. That's the only one I've seen. It's not No Time to Die, but No Time to Die. It's an interesting name, but trailer doesn't look bad. I'll definitely check it out. Having Rami Malek as the villain could be fun. Could be a good old time. I wish there was a map that told me where to go. But yeah. What else we got? The Tenet trailer. Tenet looks really good. I'm excited for Tenet. I actually haven't seen anything John David Washington has been in. Much to my surprise, I haven't seen Black Klansman, and I don't think he's been in any other project. So it'll be interesting to see him acting opposite Robert Pattinson, who essentially had a whole redemption arc in the past couple decades trying to escape his oh goodness, I do need that. Just reminded me of something I need to talk about. That's related to DC. Yeah, he had a whole redemption arc these past years trying to escape the twilight, as it were, of his past. Yeah. So speaking of Robert Pattinson, we get our first look, or teased look of his new bat suit. Through the director posting on Twitter, and then a bunch of set photos dropped of him. And I want to believe Zoe Kravitz is Catwoman, but I don't think we got a full clear image. It's a very blended take. You can definitely tell it's inspired by a lot of other bats. What the shitting hell is this? What in God's name? Okay, this is ridiculous. Anyways, as I was saying, oh yeah, so the bat suit looks, it's interesting. It'll have to grow on me. I'm not in love with it. I haven't really loved a bat suit in a while. Yeah, let me go in the scary room with the scary noises because I'm a brave little Japanese boy. But I'm not in love with it, but I get I can definitely see where its inspiration comes from. This is definitely a unique take on Batman. It's like a hodgepodge of different versions of it. It has some classic in there. It has some Arkham in there. It has some Elseworld in there. It's a blend. However, if that rumor is true about him making like the chess piece out of his parents' bullets, I think that's kind of It's kind of dumb, but you know, it is what it is. It's gonna do what it's gonna be. Um, the trailer for Spiral and the trailers for moving on. Trailers for Spiral, trailers for Candyman. I am stupid excited for both of those. I never thought I would be excited to see a Saw movie, ever. But April is the cruelest month. 'Cause, oh my god, it's like you know me. But Spiral looks very good. I don't care what anybody says. I don't know how you can see that and think it looks dumb. It looks great for a Saw movie. It's got Chris Rock and Sam Jackson playing serious characters, so I'll be curious to see how far that goes. I'm excited for that. Candyman looks so much fun as kind of a light. They call it a spiritual successor, but I'm pretty sure it's a sequel. I'm wondering why they chose that verbiage because it seems like it's going the route of the newest Halloween, wherein it's a direct sequel to the first one. And I'm hoping I hear Tony Todd's in it. I'm hoping that's true because I feel like Jordan Peele is producing it, but Neo DaCosta is directing. I feel like they have a lot of respect for that legacy because that's one of the few, if not the only, black horror characters that we have that's like significant. Have that level of crossover appeal to the mainstream market like Candyman did, and it's two sequels. So you know, I'm excited. I'm crazy excited for Candyman. I'm excited for Spiral just because it looks like a more cinematic version and a more mystery-led version of the Saw movies, which just went into horror and gore porn for so long. It's interesting to see it kind of return to form to kind of the mystery and intrigue. And of course, you're gonna have to have those moments of like the gore and the horror and whatnot. But like build me up to that. You know, work up to me for that. And yeah, so those have been the like the what the, is that Beelzebub? Oh, this music is kicking in heavy. No, is that Baphomet? What is this guy about to do to me? About to get in my cheeks. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about was my top 10 movies from 2019. I was thinking about doing the video. I'm like, no, I'll do it for the podcast because I'll definitely be recording this in January. I was wrong. But, yeah, I'll face this demon. Let me see. So my number 10 movie was... Oh, okay, sis. My number 10 movie was Someone's Great. I didn't watch a lot of movies in 2019. I was starting to realize I've since I have the time, I've started trying to watch a little bit more stuff. But I wind up going on YouTube and listening to Double Toasted because they're absolutely hilarious. But my number 10 movie is Someone's Great. I think because of just the time when it hit was very special for me. It was something that I really needed at the time. It's a film about a breakup and kind of the camaraderie that these three women have, and I was in that position the same weekend the movie dropped, and so you know I was sitting to my friends talking to them, and they're making sure I'm okay and doing well and everything. So Someone's Great it's sitting at my number 10 just because there are going to be moments when life has you in lows, and it's always good to know that you can rely on the people you trust the most to always be there for you for whatever, because like it's just like a nice little goofy movie. It's not anything special. You're not gonna like walk away with any crazy lessons. It's just a girl trying to get over something about life that can be painful, but then you realize like, you know, the pain is temporary, and ideally your friendships last longer than that hurt does. And that's about my number 10. My number 9 wound up being Battle Angel Alita, which I saw on a plane, I think, coming back from San Diego. It's Captain Marvel, but more interesting and better in my eyes, which is funny because they came out around the same time. It's the better version of Captain Marvel, and we'll get to the better version of Captain Marvel later on. But nonetheless, yeah, it's not gonna blow again. It's not gonna blow you away, but I think it's one of the best anime adaptations we've had put to film in a very long time. I went the wrong way. and I have to give them credit for that. It's a solid budget. The stakes are interesting. The effects I think are solid because it's produced by James Cameron. Robert Rodriguez is also somebody who has a decent idea of what he's doing. But he made. I think he did a solid job. I think it's a solid movie. It's entertaining. It seeks to pull off and accomplish what it does. So I am actually hoping that it ends up getting a sequel because I would not mind seeing these characters more. There's no big moral. There's no crazy lesson that comes at the end. I just think it's a solid, low-key superhero movie. And I think it's just entertaining. It's a good time. What was my number 8? My number 8 I saw at the tail end of 2019. It's Steven Universe, the movie. That movie is way better than it has. And hi, Satan. That movie is way better than it has any right to be at all. Solidly animated, very catchy, very addictive, beautiful music. Like it's a musical too. It gets you in your feelings. I'm like, why am I feeling for these characters? I've only watched like 2 episodes of Steven Universe. I'm not gonna act like I'm a big fan, but up in December when I was at my friend's, she was like, "You want to watch the Steven Universe movie?" I'm like, "Sure, why not? This is probably gonna be silly because everyone told me that the music in it is really good." The child with the woman disappeared. So I'm like, oh, all right, let's check it out. Let's see how it goes. So I give it a chance, and I'm like, that is way better than it has any right to be. Even the lesson in the story it teaches about abandonment kind of tugs at the heartstrings, and just about like the lengths we are willing to go, and what we do for people we call friends, and why it's important, why communication is important to people. I don't know. It just has like a nice. It's a solid story, and if that was where the show ended, apparently it ended recently. So good congrats to them, I suppose. Good luck with their futures. But it's good. It has very good music. The music is way better than it has any right to be at all. But yeah, it's just good. It's a good movie. My number 7 is Us. I think that was the first horror movie I saw in theaters in 2019, I want to say. Pray for a demon. This is so hard doing what I'm doing right now. But Us creeped me out for a good couple days. I think Us has a strong story, but it definitely unravels the harder you think about it. But I think great tone, great cinematography, what it represents is really interesting. It's not wholly a discussion on race like Get Out was. I think Get Out's the better movie, but I think Us is more, in terms of what the end implications are, is a lot more grim. Because like when you get to the end of the movie and you realize what the implications are about the one of the other characters, like oh my god, that's horrific. It's nightmarish and ghoulish. But I think there's a lot to it's another movie with a lot to unpack, which is another reason I'm excited for Candyman, is because Jordan Peele's producing it. Jordan Peele has a very good, I would say, eye for horror, which I think kind of rolls into his comedy background. I feel like that's what's going to be strong about Spiral as well, is having comedic actors rolling into horror, because a lot of comedy comes from tragedy. So that means you have a very clear understanding of what makes people scared and what makes people hurt. So that's why I think Us is still a pretty effective. It's more of a horror, I would say, than Get Out was, but I still consider them both kind of more thrillery than horrors, like straight out horrors. But yeah, Us was good. Number 6 was one I almost forgot about, but another musical. Guava Island is a shorter film, but it's Donald Glover and Rihanna, which is essentially Purple Rain in Jamaica, with a few more capitalism aspects to it. I think the music is beautiful, the cinematography is good, the story is simple, but I think what it does just works very strong, and that's what I like about it. I think it just, what it does well. I still am pissed we don't have an official soundtrack for Guava Island. I believe it's on Amazon Prime for everybody to watch. Everybody that's Prime, but it knows what it does and it does it well. I would say, and I think it's one of those movies where it doesn't have to use words always to convey the emotions on screen. I think that's what helps make it a good film. Um, let's see, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. What was my five? I forgot what my five was. I might. I'm forgetting what my fifth movie was. I'm not putting The Lighthouse up there because I didn't like that movie. Fuck me. We're skipping five then. Five could be anything. Five is a wild card. God, I'm trying to think of what the other movie was. I can't remember. Okay. On to four. Four is Avengers Endgame. This was tough between four and three. Avengers Endgame, I still think is a landmark film. Definitely, and it's not like shit. Is it the apocalypse? Are we apocalypsing right now? Okay. Avengers Endgame is a great film. I love Avengers Endgame. Our family now owns Avengers Endgame. I don't have any problems with Avengers Endgame. I saw it twice in theaters. First time was at the Alamo. Like, I dropped $50 to watch it that day and took my mother so we could go for the opening day of that Thursday. This music is beautiful. I think everything in Avengers Endgame just works for me. If that was where the Marvel Universe ended, I would have no complaints. I'd be completely comfortable. This music is absolutely banging. Yeah, I don't have any issues with it. There's just other movies I think were more that just sat with me a little. Huh? Yes. Okay. Had to answer a call. But yeah, I don't know. Avengers Endgame is great. I don't have any word for that. It's just an experience. Um, with that said, my number three is Shazam. Just because I think that's a fantastic family film. It is my new favorite DC movie. Um, I think everything it's a simple movie. It's another one of those movies where I think everything it does simply, it does right, and I have no complaints about that at all. I've recommended it to clients before. I just think it's great in the story it tells, and it's just it's a coming of hero story, and I'm very excited to see where Shazam 2 goes. Um, but it made me feel that kind of hope and joy that Superman fans, I believe, would get. I'm like, oh, I'm rooting for this guy. I'm rooting for this kid. Oh, everybody in the movie feels like a character. And even though it's simple and it's like a simple villain, aside from the seven deadly sins, it just it feels full and it feels complete. And if this was a standalone movie, I would have no complaints about it. But it's getting a sequel, which makes me really happy. And it's a mix of Superman and Spider-Man: Homecoming and I think those are probably the big two. And I think that's what makes it work is it has that kind of they really capture. I want to say the youth and age of that character and the innocence, but also the naivete that comes with it with the powers of a man. I think that's what really helps encapsulate what Shazam is and what the fuck is going on with this game. Ugh, my goodness. Okay, alright, that's terrifying. That's awful. But yeah, my number three Shazam. My number two is Ready or Not. I call it Get Out for White People. I watched it and I was absolutely elated. I loved it so much because it kind of kept me on my toes. It was funny. It was a horror. It had some brutal, painful moments, but when I finished it, I'm like, I gotta own this. It was so good, just because in how it gets you caught in the mystery, caught in the characters. You're really into the lead actress. I think she does a fantastic performance. I would love to see a movie with I'm forgetting her name because she definitely looks like the daughter of Emma Stone and Margot Robbie, and she's also Australian. I'd love to see a movie with the three of them together. She's on her way to becoming a new Scream Queen, and I'm entirely here for it. I would love to see it. Yes. But yeah, Ready or Not is my number two. Great acting, really engaging, really brutal, and then in like Get Out, when you get to the end, whoo boy, it's an experience. And then my number one is actually Dolomite is my name. Um, it hit me in a place where I haven't been touched by any film before, and that was as a black creative. I've never had a story that touched that part of my psyche and my emotions before, of having an ambition for something and a motivation to do something, and even though everyone tells you no, you still find a way to do it because you just love it. And even at his age, it's like you can do this at any age. It's just a really hopeful film. I don't think it gets every nuance that it should have gotten, but I think its imperfections help make it perfect. The same way that people love Dolomite because there's so much of it that like just doesn't go right or doesn't work if you're working on like an objective level, but subjectively still highly entertaining. I have Dolomite somewhere on my computer, but I think it's just great. I think Dolomite, my name is great. I have missed this version of Eddie Murphy for so very long. Um, and it was so good to see him back. And I low key wish he would have gotten an Oscar for this, or at least a Golden Globe or a nomination or something, because he does a fantastic job, and it's such a great return to form for him. And I miss this version of Eddie Murphy so much. And okay, I can now do this. Um, Sorry, I'm going through my items right now. But yeah, those are my top. I guess if I had to pick a five, I will bump everything else up and put it between. I'll put Joker on this list, I guess, for a technical level. But in terms of actual like entertainment value, I'll put it like between. Honestly, between like Battle Angel Alita and Steven Universe, so it's like my new number eight. It's a well done movie, but it just didn't grab me the way it grabbed everyone else. I thought the acting was good, and I think there's a lot of misdirection in it that I think works. It's effective, but at the same time, just like I don't know. I'm not a huge Joker fan, so it doesn't really grab me the way it would like everyone else. Like, oh yeah, it's one of the greatest movies. I didn't think it was one of the best of the year. I didn't think it was bad either. I think it was really competently made. I went to that on like a date, and it's fine. It's good. Nothing, nothing special. Nothing to like suck 1,000 dicks over. It just is what it is. It's a competent, well-made movie. Very good misdirection, I'll say that, and very good performances and a very good score. It's a mostly good movie. It's just like my problems with it have nothing to do with the film itself, that it has to do with the character. And I've never been one to understand the fascination with that character, which is ironic because I love Harley Quinn so much. Because I think she's a more fuller, well-rounded character. But I think because you have so much mystery and ambiguity with this character, because you have to keep him kind of as his character, even when you try to give explanations to it, there's still a lot of misdirection and confusion. I just think I can't empathize. I can empathize with Arthur Fleck more than I have most other interpretations, because like he's um he's more humanized, and he has some rough shit happen to him. You feel bad for the guy, but like I can't fully empathize because I know it's the Joker. If this wasn't a Joker movie, I probably would have enjoyed it a lot more. But knowing about what this character becomes in terms of like what the legacy based off his comics and what that ends up representing means he just kind of goes on to become this agent of chaos that just kind of exists, and that's not interesting. And that's not particularly humanly empathetic to me, and that's what the downfall of the movie is, the same downfall of the character. But yeah, um, God, okay, I'm gonna keep playing this, but I'm gonna close out my podcast. So if you like this, you should listen to the other episodes on my Spotify under Ace Podcast A.C.E. I have been your host, Will the Greatest. Hopefully, there will not be another 4 month hiatus like this one had. But we'll see. And maybe I'll just do a roundup. Maybe I'll got some friends. Who knows? Who knows, bro? But hopefully, you enjoyed that part of it. And I will be able to see you all next time. So have a good one. Be kind to each other. Be safe. Big run is in these streets. Be Be safe, be kind, and be careful, and have a good one. I'll see you next time. Let me see. Okay. Does that mean this is Shinjuku Medical Center? Anyways. What are you talking? Oh, demons. See, I was right. I definitely played the first hour of this, like, not paying any attention to it. I mean, this seems like the city blew up. Hold on this for a second. Oh, I think I'm gonna take a break from streaming to go do things around my home. Oh, okay. I'll come back to this later on. Maybe.